Hello everyone, welcome to the first vlog for Music, Culture and Performance Strand 5, National Movements and later Romanticism, etc. And I want to use this vlog as a way of just introducing how I'm going to be working with you over the course of this term. We're going to be talking quite a lot over the course of the term. And first of all, let me just introduce you to this guy, who is one of the reasons why there was a little bit of a delay starting the year, and you had Adam for a week, and then you've got me now for the rest of the term. This is Teddy. Teddy is he's purring away here. He's 6 weeks old today, and he and his twin sister Rosa came into our lives in this house in September. And you won't believe this, actually. He's 6 weeks old today. He just came home tonight for the first time. He had brain surgery just yesterday, and he's back now. Look at him. He's doing really well and just doing what babies do best, and sleeping and purring and being really quite adorable. So we're very happy with him. He's part of the family, and he's part of vlog number 1, because I'm going to be talking about how we're going to work together and all get to know each other over the course of the term. I mentioned to you, I quite like working with people directly and meeting people and finding out all about different aspects of your musical lives. Because I mentioned that on Fridays, after the lecture, in the afternoons, I'm going to be organising a set of tutorials, and I give tutorials every Friday. Please come along and just talk to me. Make an appointment. You can sign up. The link will be on Moodle, and you'll be able to make an appointment and come and talk about either your assignments or just, hey, tell me what you're playing. If you've got any questions about repertoire that you just want to work with, it's always really great to work with everybody quite closely and on all aspects of your musical life, not just within the lectures themselves. And that really, I think, helps us make that connection stronger between what we're doing in class and what you're doing in the rest of your lives, which is really what I'm all about. So please do make an appointment to come and see me. Because of the difficulties with him and his surgery this week, my schedule has been a little bit revised, shall we say. So this week there will be a lecture as normal, but I won't be doing tutorials this Friday. They will start the week after, on the 26th of October, but they will run every week for the rest of the term. Please do sign up and come and see me about any of those. Also, just a reminder of the way I work generally in the lectures. I stayed quite late on Friday night to put you, I photocopied all of your booklets, and you'll get your booklet that has all the information, the supportive information for the lectures in it over the course of the term, which saves us from doing weekly handouts. You just bring your book along every week and follow it through from there. And also, most of the musical examples, the scores that you'll hear aren't actually in there, but they will be on the slides for the lecture, and all those slides will be on Moodle. If you have a look on Moodle, you'll see the slides for last week's lecture are all there. But if you want to follow more closely within the lecture itself, then you can actually hop onto Moodle. If you have a laptop or a tablet or something, hop onto Moodle on the morning of the lecture and just download them, and you can follow them much more closely in the lesson, in the class. And hopefully that's more engaging, and you can actually engage in the conversation a lot better for having that information right in front of you like that. It just saves paper, because there's going to be a lot of music and a lot of scores that we go through over the course of the term to do that part of the handouts electronically. If you have a Spotify account, all of the music that I play in the lectures is from Spotify. I play it directly from Spotify, from a set of Spotify playlists, and each of those playlists also is published on Moodle. There's a link to it on Moodle. So if you have a Spotify account and you hear something in class that catches your ears and you want to listen to it again, or you miss the details, you want to find out about it, or simply if I just played a little section of it and you want to find out more, you can go along to the playlist, which is on Moodle. Even if you don't have a Spotify account, you'll be able to access the details of what those recordings were, and you can follow them up elsewhere, either in the library or online at a different place. So that's how I work generally over the course of the term. More specifically, we're working towards assignment number 1, which is for, excuse you, is for November. This could get very interesting, couldn't it? For November. And I'm going to set you a little challenge for this week's class. We talked last Friday about the idea that music for all of us represents really who we are as a person. And throughout every age in history, we can see that art music really takes on the issues of what it felt like to be a human being at that time. In the 18th century music, we talked about it being the time of the Industrial Revolution, and we see all those great mechanical structures which become used as metaphors for the body, which is often described as a machine. I talked about this guy. Where is he? La Mettrie, his book on Man, a Machine. Machine Man, as it's called in this translation. It's often translated as Man and Machine, in which he argues in the mid 18th century that the human body is literally just a machine, it's a mechanism, and that's actually who we are. That ties in very, very clearly with what the main issues were in technology at the time. And then going on into the dream worlds and the interest in the subconscious and the emotions of the 19th century. We talked about Freud, who wrote The Interpretation of Dreams right at the end of the century, 1900 actually, at the beginning of the next century it was published. And again, it really shows what people were thinking about scientifically and how that links with our conception of music, that music was being composed at the time as a means of saying who we are as people. And I talked about the modern digital age, where most of the debates of who we are as people enter into ideas of artificial intelligence. Can you recreate human life through other means of technology? And is that a conscious being? And so on and so forth. So we can really see how our identity as people is challenged and is questioned and is really discussed as part of not just the issues of any age in history, but the music that is produced, the very structural music of the 18th century, the much more openly structured, open-ended, we might say dreamlike music. We think of Berlioz, or we think of Strauss' Death and Transfiguration, and the idea of the soul leaving the body. All of those ideas really tell us something about what it was to be a person, and what it felt like to be a person in the 19th century. So that's really important, and the understanding that of the body as a metaphor for a piece of music, or a piece of music referring either to the body or the mind. So your challenge this week is to think about a particular piece of music which you think tells us something about that personal experience of being in the 19th century. You're looking for a romantic piece of music, something which has a sense of human identity. That doesn't mean that it has to be about something. It can be an instrumental work that is just called symphony or sonata or string quartet, as well as a song which is actually about a particular human experience. But we talked about that great shift that happens through the classical period. I mentioned the idea of Haydn, who began his life in his string quartets writing minuets, a dance, a piece of music about the body that tells you about the rhythms of the body and the movements of the body, and how that became replaced in his Opus 33 quartets and subsequently by Beethoven and other composers by the scherzo. The scherzo is a joke, it's an emotion, it's a feeling, it is not a bodily movement, it's not a physical thing, it's an emotion. And that great shift that happens towards emotions and emotional experience tells us so much about the thoughts of what really defined people in the 19th century. People felt they were defined by their inner lives, not their outer physical presence. So you're looking for a piece of music that really you think has a sense of that inner life of a person, either directly or just it suggests it by the kind of musical language which it uses. If you can bring that along, please. Not necessarily bring a score, but it will be something from your own repertoire, written for your own instrument or voice, whether or not you play or sing it yourself, it doesn't matter, but something within your own repertoire, or within the repertoire of your instrument or voice. If you can bring along at least a title and just say a couple of lines about that to the class, we will talk about that in more detail. And we'll talk about how this idea of soul really gets into music and how we can see it manifested in music of the 19th century through various different means of expression that simply were not prioritised in the music of previous ages. So how that sense of romanticism is really characterized by that sense of the inner personal life of a human being in the 19th century. I'll leave it there for this week. We'll say goodbye. We'll say goodbye to Teddy, who's just about waking up. He says bye-bye. And have a great week. I will see you on Friday morning and talk more to you then. Thank you very much. Bye for now.